One of the things I love to do at One Rental at a Time is hear from new people with new voices, new ideas, and new experience. They reach out to me all the time. I usually say no, but sometimes I say yes. We have one of those opportunities today, Mr. Danny Gonzalez. How you doing, Danny?
I am doing great, Michael. I'm excited to be here with you, man.
Yeah, awesome. One of the things I loved about your story is you've been in the game for a decade, so it's not like you've only been doing this 2 or 3 years when it was easy. You've got
Mm.
a decade of experience, and also, you do a lot of things. You do buy and hold. You have done some wholesale, some flips. You have a preferred method, which we'll dig into a little bit. But you're with One Rental at a Time. What is your biography, resume, whatever? Introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so again, I'm excited to be here. I've been in the game for over a decade now. Started off as an agent, got my broker's license, ended up taking down a 42 single family home portfolio. And that really was the catalyst into my investment journey. I went from owning one single family rental into owning the 42. We ended up selling 25 of them. It was me and two partners. We ended up selling the 25, being left with 17. And
Mhm.
out of that 17, my eyes were open to beauty of investing in real estate. I ended up starting a property management company out of that portfolio, and we've grown that to over 300 doors. I currently have 28 rentals in my long-term portfolio. And ironically, because I've been following you for a long time, the LLC that my holding company is called One Brick LLC. And it's really based out of that idea of how do you build a house? A brick
Yep.
house is not built by just kind of all together. Well, nowadays you can build houses manufactured, but if you want to build it right, you want to build something that's going to last, you build
Yep.
it one brick at a time. And so, yeah, actually, my portfolios are in that One Brick LLC, and we've been doing that for many years. My preferred
Nice.
strategy is Burr. So, yeah, I love Burr. I'm in primarily the Birmingham market. I live in
Okay.
Miami, but all my business is in Alabama. So,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, Birmingham. I love Alabama. So I got to ask about that 42 unit portfolio, right? So, how did it come to you? Did you find it? I mean, taking
Yeah.
out a 42 single family homes, it's got to be a story there.
Yeah. So I actually ended up finding it through, ironically, a Facebook group. It was an older gentleman. Him and his partner had this portfolio for, geez, maybe 20, 30 years. They had built it over time, and they had been getting to the part of their life where they just wanted to cash out. It was actually more, I think it was like 49 originally, but after doing the inspection, we were like, hey, we really like these 42, but these seven, not so much. So we kind of
Okay.
separated them out. But yeah, $2.5 million. I brought zero money to the table. We raised the debt as the down payment, and then just went to a local bank and said, hey, out of that 2.5 million, I think it was about 500K was the down payment. Can you provide the other 2 million? They did. And then we just executed on the business plan. The business plan was to be able to really fix and flip as many as I can, and then sell those to turnkey buyers, and then be able to allow that to pay back the debt and then increase our equity in the deal.
Yeah, I love that. So again, when you were looking at these 42 units, your whole intention was, hey, we're gonna polish some of these up and sell them off. Um, how long was that process? I mean, I'm guessing you didn't have 10 teams doing 10 things at one time. It was
No.
probably a quite a journey.
It was painstaking. It was probably about 9 to 12 months by the time we finalized all kind of, paying back the debt on the front end.
Mhm.
And then we ended up refinancing on the back end. So yeah, it was about 9 to 12 excruciating months. But man, and I'm sure you could attest to this, that like in the moment, pain hurt so bad. But then when you look back, you're like, I survived, I
Yeah,
learned,
I
I
didn't
grew
die.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and almost like I've become addicted to that. Like another situation that kind of thrown into a challenge right now is there's a 118 unit multifamily deal here in town in Miami, and they need property management. And I've never done property management to that size, 118 unit Class A asset. But it's one of those where it's like I have this kind of split in the road. Can I step into this and figure it out, or can I just, am I going to cower and just kind of go the easy route? And to anyone listening, if you have an opportunity like that, please
Bro. Yeah.
go the hard route,
Bro.
because you will surprise yourself on how much you could do, and how quickly you could adapt, and how much you could learn. And then the success of that, man, just the growth that comes along with challenges and being able to endure it, even if it don't succeed, you're able to actually, survive and learn and be better for it. Man, it's just so much. It's amazing to see
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're in Miami, you invest in Birmingham. I'm guessing that's a flight, or do you drive?
No, I fly to Atlanta
Yeah.
and then drive over. That's the most
Yeah.
direct route. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so like you leave your house to when you're on a property, are we talking 3 hours ish?
So it's an hour and a half flight plus about a 2 hour drive. So I
Okay. So
typically
maybe
have the
4 hours.
flight, yeah, about 4 hours. Yeah. I
Okay.
leave maybe around 5 o'clock. I'm there by 9, 10.
Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is we're not talking it's a 2 hour jaunt. You're talking half a day commitment.
Yeah, but again, I have the property management team up there. I have multiple properties. So when I'm there, I'm full grind mode. I'm,
Yeah.
start to finish. And then in Miami, I have a wife and kids. So I'm like
Yeah.
kind of, I want to be there for my family. But when I'm in Birmingham, it's all work, kind of morning to
Yeah.
night, snacking as many meetings as possible.
I like it. I like it. Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about that year of pain. Were you in Birmingham a lot, or was this a lot of phone calls and all of that? Were you there? Were you on the ground a
Yeah.
lot?
So actually, I lived in Birmingham, and I was
Oh,
actually
okay.
living in Birmingham when this happened. So I moved to Miami
Ah,
about
makes
two
more
years ago.
sense.
Yeah, this portfolio was about 4 years ago now. But
So
yeah, I was.
let me ask the question this way: do you think if that deal came across your table today while you're living in Miami, it's in Birmingham? Do you try to tackle that, or is that like,
A good question, Michael. That is a really good question. My knee-jerk reaction is yes, I would try to tackle it, but logistically, I would have to have the team in place. Like not only the property managers, but boots on the ground, solid contractors, a very good system to check in and make sure that
mhm.
work is getting done. I mean, like I cannot overemphasize the importance of that because even right now, sitting in Miami, I have another portfolio, 7 properties. Now I'm wrapping that one up. I have 3 left, and that is a totally different challenge because you have to be able to keep up with things from a distance, and it's just very challenging, very challenging.
Yeah, it's really hard like to do that. Like when I was thinking about your 42, I did not realize at the time you were living in Birmingham. That makes a lot more sense. You just got to be close. Because if
Yeah,
you're not, you're losing potentially thousands of dollars, not to nefarious activities, which that might be the case, but just timing and choices. And you're not there to, so they move forward with this or that. If
yeah.
you're running a 42 project deal, you got to be on top of that. You got to be in it.
Yeah, I would say you would have to be able to visit at least biweekly. Is like even if it's for a day or two. I mean, you could have someone on the ground, but again, I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty good at delegating and making sure SOPs are in place, but I would still say from like an overall standpoint, making sure that things are getting done properly, I would personally visit, even if it's just
Oh,
for a day or two. I mean, the flight, it's crazy how cheap flights are. I mean, I know Spirit is terrible, Frontier is terrible, but if you could actually go and like it's from Miami to Atlanta is $50. I mean, like it's
oh,
so
come on.
cheap, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go. Yeah,
yeah,
let's
exactly. So
go.
you go, you invest a day and you're able to just make sure that things are happening and then you fly back. I mean,
Yeah, no,
um,
you would have to do day trips. Take the first flight out at 6 a.m., take the last flight back. Because,
yep, I've done that many
um,
times.
oh, yeah, you'd have to. But, that's what you got to do when you're looking at $1 million profit or 500,000 or whatever the heck it is. You got to be in grind mode. This stuff just doesn't just show up. So I
Yep.
applaud that. Well,
Yeah.
let's break off and talk about your favorite method. I
Mm,
have used that dozens and dozens of times. It is an amazing gift when the deal works. I do think it's sold as magic and pixie dust, which always annoys me.
mm, yeah.
It's
Why do you say
sold
that?
as easy. It's sold as easy, man. It's you can build a real estate portfolio with none of your own money. That annoys me.
Hmm.
That annoys me. So let's talk about Burr. Let's talk about
Yep.
Burr. Go ahead. Why don't you tell us what it is, just in case somebody doesn't know?
Yeah. So
Uh,
the Burr
I,
method where you buy it, you rehab it, you rent it out, and then you refinance and you repeat that whole process. And so you're gonna essentially force the appreciation, buy something that needs work, force appreciation, and then refinance. So that is kind of the name of the game. I would say, Michael, it is if done correctly, and I would say with interest rates being where they're at today, the main challenge is the refinance on the back end. Can you cash flow?
correct.
Does it make sense to take it down? But if you're able to find a really good deal with a motivated seller that needs work and you're able to close quickly and provide value, like there's still deals, at least in Birmingham. I
Yeah.
definitely not in Miami. I don't know in Orlando and other places, but man, like because purchase prices are so low and rent
Yep.
is comparable and pretty high, I mean there's still deals out there that you can burn.
No, so I'll give you kind of my thoughts. Burr is such a big topic. It's 2 chapters of my second book, 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires. Chapter or the first topic is somebody who's done it very successfully in a market like Birmingham. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been Huntsville, some other market. And then the other one is, Burr's an advanced strategy. The reason that Burr grades on me is um, A, the market today is not 2020, right?
Mm,
It's
yeah,
just a fundamentally different market. And if somebody's pushing the Burr concept, it doesn't say that. In my opinion, that's dishonest because Burr
yeah.
worked amazing in 2020, right? And the whole idea for Burr me is you buy a fixer upper. You can even go out and get hard money. You can even pay 12% for this money. You're in and out in 4 to 6 months. And then you go get permanent financing. At the time, it was 3%. So of course you got all your money out. You probably even made money, right?
Yep.
Right. So
That
so there
happened.
was the perfect season for Burr.
Mm,
It was called 2020, 2021. I know there's a lot of people pitching it today that aren't giving you those caveats, and that
mm,
annoys me.
yeah.
Second thing I will admit is there are plenty of markets. Birmingham could be one of them. I don't know it, but I trust you. That it does still work if you find the right situation, if you
Hmm.
have the network, if you have the wholesalers. Because I think Burr has 2 critical steps. You got to buy it right, which again, a lot of people don't understand ARVs and don't understand the cycle and don't understand costs. And it always is about the refi. I can't tell you how many people have done Burrs because they were told it's easy. That either A, left money in the deal that they didn't plan on. So they owe money to mom or owe money to, dad. I
Mm,
couldn't give it all back. Or two, they did the refi, but now it's an alligator. Now it's negative cash flow. And
yeah.
that's not okay in my book.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
That is like the rule of thumb for me is like if you're going to be losing money every single month, it's better to sell it because
yeah, get rid
and
of it.
yeah, because for me that it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up, especially once you start adding in
Oh,
all the vacancy, all of the repairs. I mean, if a tenant doesn't pay, you have to deal with eviction. Like those are the things that a lot of novice investors just don't realize. They only
yeah.
looking at CITI and the rent. It's like it's so much more, you know,
Yeah. If,
complicated
if
than just
if
that,
if you're signing up to lose money just on the mortgage payment, you're
Oh,
screwed. Because
oh my
stuff
goodness.
breaks. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. An
nuts, right?
HVAC. I mean, you're talking $6,000 right there.
Easy.
Yeah, yeah. And then let
Yeah.
alone a turnover or, I mean,
Yeah.
there's countless and then property management as well. I mean, that's
Yeah.
another month on top of that. So
Yeah.
no, I agree. I would say Burr, you'd
So
have
what
to
do you what
find
do you think's the hardest part? Let's pretend we're new investors. So you do your first Burr. What was the hardest? The buy, the repair, both the timeline, but also the estimate,
hmm,
and then the refi. Because I think the thing that the reason I call Burr an advanced strategy, and
hmm,
if you treat it as an advanced strategy, it can be amazing. I'm not
yeah,
trying to say it doesn't work. It can be amazing. But I think too many people sell it as a novice
hmm,
and thus they don't buy right. They don't understand timelines. Their make ready bids suck. They're off by 50%. And then they don't do the calculation on the other and they just lose, lose, lose. So what was the
yeah.
hardest for you?
I've never thought of it like that because for me, it kind of came naturally. I was already in the game. I already understood ARVs and how to deal with contractors. And so maybe I was kind of discounting it on my end. But the way that you're explaining it makes sense because there are a lot of intricacies that go into it to make it successful. I would say, hands down, the most difficult part is the buy. If you could buy right, everything else kind of falls into place. And yes, you still have to have good connections on the contractor side. And yes, you still have to be able to manage them. Yes, you still have to be able to rent it out and have the refinance and all of that. But if you get the buy side correct, it allows for so much more leeway on the back end
Yes.
for the unexpected, for the things that come up that are unforeseen. And so buying and not being kind of already underwater, kind of a step or two behind, man, that sets up the
I
whole for success.
I am so glad you said that. We don't know each other, but if you didn't say that, I was going to light you up. Um, because it
I
is
practice
always
that.
about the purchase. It's real estate investing. You make your money when you buy.
Yeah. Yep.
And you know, in the last 4 years, a lot of people were bailed out because of appreciation. Your
Hmm.
dumbasses bought wrong and you got lucky,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Well,
So again,
let's talk about today then. I mean, because I'm curious, how are you finding good opportunities to purchase then?
well, I haven't got a deal done in 12 months. So let's be clear on that.
Oh, okay.
The last deal I did was from a home builder, which I got a huge discount and 30-year money on, below
Nice.
5%. Um, but that's for a second home. That's the last deal I did.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited for the next 18 months
Hmm.
because the market is slowing down. Now, what
It
do I
is.
mean by that? We're seeing inventory build. We're seeing rates stay high. We're seeing demand pull back, which again, dude, I've been doing this 23 years now. I know exactly what happens next. I'm going to be able to look at the inventory and
Yeah.
with very little but consistent effort, I will find the motivated sellers in my buy box.
Hmm.
I will buy below list. I
Yep.
might get seller carry.
Yep.
Um, it's all about creativity and consistency. And
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
buy right out of the MLS. There's no reason for me to deal with wholesalers. I haven't seen a good wholesale deal in 18 months. They're all overpriced. They're all shitty condition. They're all unfinanceable, and they don't know
Yeah.
what they're getting.
And not
They're going
only
to go out of
that,
business.
they say ARV is 150 when in reality you pull the comps, it's like 120 at best, So
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
try to
And
like
in
play
current
with the
condition, it's
number.
90.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They just, they want to sell it for as much as they can. And so yes, I agree. If you're gonna find properties through a wholesaler, just verify the numbers. You can't just
Oh,
believe what they're sending you because that's an easy way to get screwed over.
yeah. No,
Um,
I've purchased. So in the last 5 years, I've probably purchased 70 properties. I
nice.
flipped 55 of them, let's say, to keep the math right. So we kept 15. I would say more than half, probably 70% were from wholesalers. So there
Wow.
was a time they were producing great deals and I bought them all, but they're not even close, dude. I mean, I actually think we're seeing a lot of agents leave the business, which is reported. I don't
Hmm.
think you guys realize the number of wholesalers that are going to leave the business, and it probably have already left
And not
because
only
they're,
that, with regulations too. I mean,
yeah.
like, yeah, down the road, like, is it North Carolina that already banned it or
I
South
think it was
Carolina?
Virginia. I think it was
Yeah,
Virginia.
it was one of those
Virginia,
states.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's you have to have a license. Makes
Hmm.
sense.
Which, I mean, rightfully so. Shit,
I
like,
agree. I
it,
agree.
yeah, they should be doing it should be regulated. And then, like if you're gonna do it right and then, help the people out. Not to say that you shouldn't wholesale, but just do it right to where you're
Yeah.
disclosing everything in on the transaction.
So I'm curious of the last 10 Burrs you've done, or five, or whatever number you want to pick,
Sure.
how many of them started in the MLS versus some kind of outside lead generation?
Um, I go direct to seller. I would say
Okay.
most of them are
So
gonna be,
mailers, texting, what?
yeah, actually I prefer cold calls. That
Okay.
is, yeah, that so I actually have a team. I have a lady in the Philippines who calls and
Yep.
then
You got a
she'll
VA. Yep.
a remote VA, and she'll find someone who raised their hand, and then either me or one of the acquisition guys calls and follow ups.
Okay.
For me, yeah, going direct to seller is the best thing. I will say you have to have um the muscle of follow up. Like too many
Yes.
people want to have the deal right on their lap today. It's like
One
those guys.
call close. One call close.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like the fortunes in the follow-up. If you build a relationship and you earn their trust and you show them that when they are ready to sell, you're going to be there, they're going to work with you. You have
Yeah.
to kind of have to have that patience. And too many people just their runway is so short, they want money today. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, like this is a long-term game. But if you do it right, it's a sure way to build wealth.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you. So let me just think about this for a minute. I cannot recall a deal in the last 10 years that I got without the follow up. I frankly, dude,
That's
I
a
don't
good
want
point.
the seller to say yes to my first offer.
I agree. I agree.
Dude,
Because
if they
then,
say yes to my first offer, I offer too much.
yeah, not only that, it's a red flag. Like either they don't own the property or like it's gonna blow up in another way down
Dude,
the road.
I missed something. That's what it tells
Yeah,
me is I
exactly.
missed something.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
do it right, you're able to just you're vetting them as much as they're vetting you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely.
really,
Here's something I would strongly suggest a new friend try. If I'm right about the market, and I don't know Birmingham at all, I have never looked. So take this with a huge grain of salt.
sure.
I would challenge you over the next 6 months to have that VA in the Philippines or someone start to scan the MLS,
Hmm.
because I think something is going to happen here, and it may already be happening, and you just don't see it because you're not looking. There's a lot of properties that don't qualify for FHA
Yeah, because of the condition.
and because of their condition. And that stuff is starting to stack up.
Hmm.
And some of those people own it free and clear, which you can use Property Radar or some other system I'm sure you have or know of to
Yep.
figure out the loan balance. I would be willing to bet, and I'll bet you $100 if you did this for 30 days, looked at the MLS and did what you do in the MLS, you would find at least one deal. And if you don't, I'll give you $100.
Are
I
are you lowballing them, or would you say go the seller finance route, or like, or just in general?
if I found a seller, poor condition,
Yep.
days on market 50 days,
Hmm.
I've done my research and they own it free and clear, I bring them two offers.
Interesting. Oh,
Cash, seller financing.
oh.
10% down, 5% interest, 30-year fixed is where I start.
Oof.
Which one do you like? That's what I would do.
Yeah, that two offer system is so good, man, because it allows them to feel like, hey, what's the better option for me? They're like,
It's
maybe
also
they,
part of the interview. It's like, what are you
yeah,
attached to?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Is it the monthly payment? Is it just a quick buyout? Is it, what would make sense for you as a seller? That's interesting, Michael. I might take you up on that challenge, man. I might wager $100.
Yeah. If you
And
get a
honestly,
deal, you owe me. And if you don't, I owe you. You're done.
yeah, yeah, man. Because finding deals is, I feel like people still want a lot though. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with when I'm going direct to sellers, like how it's finding them to where they're realistic with the pricing because it's not
Yeah,
2021, and so they're out
exactly.
there. It's just kind of few and far between. And so kind
Well,
of,
here's the beauty of the MLS. You know, there's at least some motivation,
that's a good point. They've already
right?
raised it. Yeah.
They've already raised it. Now, they could be in this, like, you're going to have to do the research, right? You want somebody with very little if debt, if not own, because you want to make sure seller financing works, but they've already
Yeah.
raised their hand. They're already self qualified. The second
Yeah.
thing I said is 50 days on market. Now, I don't know
Mm,
Birmingham's a market, but a lot of stuff in a lot of markets sell quickly. But if it's on the market that long, it's being skipped. It's not being looked at.
yeah, yeah. Because it has that aura of
Think
like, hey,
on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, yeah, distinct. Why isn't it selling? Yeah, that's interesting, man.
Dude, the second half is going to slow down. And again, too many people like yourself have built teams and VAs and SOPs and mailers and texting. Dude, the MLS is going to have deals
Yeah. Yeah. And then taking it down and then making sure that would you burr it or what would you do?
based on the deal. If the guy's going to make me do a cash, I would burr it. If he's going
Yeah.
to give me, dude, if you could get me 30-year money at 5% with 10% down, I'm keeping that thing forever. Come on, stop it.
Yeah, yeah. It's rare to find an owner to do that though. I've done a few seller
It's not
financing.
rare, dude.
Really?
You're just not
Yeah,
trying.
yeah, I've seen the amortization be 30 years, but then they'll want a balloon in, 2 to 4
You know,
years.
again, they're typically again, ask for
Yeah.
the moon,
Yeah,
negotiate down.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. So just so we're just close this out because this is fun for me. I
Yeah.
don't do anything less than a 10-year balloon. 5
Hmm.
years is too short. Now, if you're in Birmingham and the price points are 60 grand, maybe that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always ask for 30. I've got a couple of 30 years, but most have 10-year balloons.
Nice. I'm curious, do you not play in the multifamily space? You like,
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I think the
okay.
multifamily space is about to have a disaster.
Dude, I've
Uh,
seen too, man. Oh my goodness. On this property management here and 118 units, like the amount of money that they're losing every single month is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like,
it's going to blow up spectacularly.
yeah. So
So
how
I'm
are you?
so this is my
Oh,
plan, dude. I'm going to do what I did last time. If you read my book, One Rental at a Time, Olivia and I in 2006 were sitting with 8 homes.
hmm.
California is just about to roll over and crash. What do? I 1031 out of 8 homes into 80 units. Ride out the storm on a yacht. It was great, beautiful, no pain. I see the same kind of catastrophe coming to 5 to 50 units,
Yeah.
and it's probably 2025, 2026. We'll
Yep.
do the same thing. We will sell homes, residential, 1031 into multifamily, 50% LTV, hold for a couple of years and print money. It's going to be glorious, but it's not today. It's a year
Yeah.
from now.
I agree. I agree. And I'm glad that I have people like you because I wasn't in the game in 2006, 2007, 2008. Like I know that there was a lot of pain, but the best way to take advantage of the upcoming recession or upcoming downturn of the market is by looking back and saying, hey, what worked back then? And then just kind of replicating it because, yeah, the numbers might be a little bit different, but the strategy is still going to be the same. And you're right. It's the person who has the cash that is able to make a strong offer to someone who's bleeding and needs out. Because at
Yeah.
that point, they need to sell.
Yeah. And this is what's going to happen. Some of those times you'll be dealing with sellers, but here's the magic of 25 and 26, 2025, 2026 is you're going to start dealing with lenders.
Hmm.
That's what's coming.
Is they're taking the properties back.
They may not even officially take them back, but they're like, this guy can't do it. We got to get him out. We need to switch operators. How can we make this good for you and good for me? Dude,
Hmm.
I bought directly from a bank last time,
Really?
right?
Do you
Absolutely.
specifically like building those relationships, or how would you do that?
That is the job for the next 12 months.
That is,
Get a
yeah.
running list of all the small, what I would do if I was in Birmingham is I
Yep.
would do a Google search and find the top 10, 15, 20, whatever it is, commercial banks or credit unions.
Yep.
And I would make it my life's mission to know the VP of, whatever, the sales division or whatever at each of the
Yeah.
institutions. Because the goal is to be on their top 5 list.
Yeah.
Because at some point in 2026, they're going to get tired of extend and pretend. And they're
Yep.
going to start calling that list going, hey, I got another one. I got
Hmm.
another one.
Yeah. And you perform on one, and then who do you think they're going to call on the next one? Yeah.
Top of the list, baby.
Yep, yep. Man, that's so good. That's so good, Michael. Yes, that is something to where I'm going to actually do is actually start looking into that list of commercial lenders in town and be able to just build a relationship with them
Yeah.
because I want to set up my family for success. I want to be one of those people who look at not 2025, 2026 as shit, it was a crappy year. I lost everything, but someone who took advantage of the opportunity. You really have to be able to set yourself up before it happens so that
Yeah.
you have everything in place, not just
I
kind
mean,
of be scrambling at the very end.
just think about if you were able to do what Olivia and I did. What we
Mm,
did is we turned one house into 10 units is the ratio, right? We went from 8 to
yeah,
80. You're at
yeah,
28 units. You could have 280 units
yeah,
if you got this right. So 1031 out of a couple of resis
yep.
into bigger stuff. Life is
Yeah,
good, man.
man, dude, I can't imagine. Yeah, that would be that'd be great, man. That'd be really
Yeah.
great.
Very, very cool. Well, Danny, where can people find you? Are you out on social media? You just
I
putting stuff
am.
out? What's going on?
I am, yeah. Shoot me a message on Instagram at DannyG.realestate. I'd love to be able to connect with you all and help you all out if I can. If you have any questions or anything about Birmingham specifically or just real estate in general, like love to be
Yep.
able to help you all out.
Yeah. Lots of people are looking for markets on the East Coast. Danny G. Real estate.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for reaching out. This has been a lot of fun.
Same here, Michael. You take care, man.
Mhm.